Hello and welcome everybody to Game 2 of SjoW vs. Harstem from the Grubby StarCraft 2 Series Pro Invitational. SjoW was our winner of Game 1, going for a straight up Bioforce, went for some early harassment with the Hellion, was able to do a lot more damage than he really should have been able to, and then did some more damage with drops later on, and I think he just really threw Harstem off. Harstem was saving up tons of energy on his Nexi, he was getting supply blocked left and right, and that just definitely was not his best play. That is definitely That's not what gets you to rank 40 Grandmaster, but we are going to have to see here if Harstem in Game 2 is going to be able to come back and try to do some damage to SjoW and maybe even try to take a win and push this series to Game 3. Spawning in the 9 o'clock position as the pink Protoss, we have Harstem. Spawning in the 12 o'clock position as the blue Terran, playing from Team Dignitas, we have SjoW. Now this map is going to be Terminus. For those of you that do not know this map, this is a map that has several notable features, the first of which is a natural expansion, which has a ramp that immediately leads down to a third expansion, which in this particular version of the map is actually going to be in a full expansion. There are some versions of the map where this is only a half expansion, and it only has one gas geyser and maybe 5 mineral patches, I want to say. And also, there are also versions of this map where there are destructible debris here that allows a player to come in from the outside, take out the destructible debris, and give them an attack path to the third. But in this particular version, there is a full third destructible debris only blocking the actual taking of the expansion. And yeah, not a whole lot else. Now, looks like SjoW has managed to go for a very fast command center. No barracks yet at all. That is, of course, a little more acceptable because Terminus is a little bit more big, open, spread out of a map. It's a little bit harder to scout your opponent. It's a little bit harder to deny this kind of a fast command center. So it looks like SjoW is going to be taking that risk in throwing down that early command center in the base of Harstem. Harstem trying to play it a little bit safer right now. Did go once again for that same build of Gateway, Gas, Core, and will he get that second gas, or will he actually be going for an expansion? We will see very shortly here. Looks like Harstem is trying to scout his opponent. SjoW actually, you know what, he goes for very late scouts now that I think about it. In Game 1, he actually went for a really super late scout. He didn't really know what his opponent was doing for quite a while. I'm trying to think of when he actually did end up scouting. Looks like there goes Harstem's Nexus of his own. Going to be taking that Nexus not nearly as fast as SjoW is going, or did take his. And we do see Warp Gate research now on the way, as well as a Stalker being produced right now. This probe is going to be able to poke into the base right now, sees the command center that has gone down, knows that that command center is now down, also sees the double barracks that his opponent has here as well. And it looks like SjoW now going to be transferring some workers down to that lower expansion. Notice no gas yet taken for SjoW, so he is going for a lot of minerals right now. Harstem was not able to scout that. He does not know exactly what his opponent is going for. He knows he can't be going for anything too big because he did invest a lot in this command center early on, but he did see 2 barracks right now, so he's going to know that marine production is going to be in high gear here for SjoW. Possibly even some early marauder pushes. There are some very early marauder pushes right now that are actually doing very well. There are some players that just get a lot of marauders really quick and just on one base, or very early on 2 bases with a smaller push, go for an early marauder aggression with as few as just 2 or 3 marauders and try to get an early concussive shell, try to do some good damage with some nice kiting. Can be very strong against a Protoss who is unprepared for it, as normally in the early game, Protoss players are only going to have gateway units, and a lot of gateway units are just not that good against Marauders, especially with that concussive shell ability. Now, Harstem is going to be throwing down a forward pylon here, and he's going to start to warp in some units into his opponent's base right now. He does currently have 3 gateways up right now, blinking, or getting a lot of stalkers, warping in a lot of stalkers right now. Looks like he's going to start to poke in at this base right now. Going to scout that bunker, is going to go down, and ooh, he found a nice little sweet spot where he can start to pick off that supply depot, and SjoW is going to have to pull a couple of workers here to have to start to repair that, pulling another one to also start to throw down a barracks as well. Knows his opponent is going to be aggressive here, and Harstem actually continuing to warp in more and more stalkers at this location while he continues to get this base up as well. Looks like he's going to try to find another sweet spot and be able to pick off this bunker, and there he goes. He does get it, but a lot of Marines are now now moving out here for SjoW, and he's going to start to pick off stalkers. Doesn't quite get it. Nice pullback there by Harstem. Nice reaction time. And I think he's just going to apply some light pressure. He hasn't warped in any more units past these 5 stalkers, so it looks like he's not going to be trying to apply any further pressure than this. Just wants to apply a little bit of light pressure to try to get his opponent to produce more units than he would like to. And as we can see, he did already force a bunker as well, so SjoW is going to have to, I mean, bunkers, you can salvage them to get most of the resources back, but he did, of course, force 100 resources out of SjoW that, well, he's not going to be using in anything else, say in Marines or SCVs, which is definitely a small win there for Harstem. Harstem not taking a third, though. I'm actually a little bit surprised that after he's got this light contain on his opponent that he wouldn't just go for an immediate fast third, but it looks like that's not going to be his plan, as he's now throwing down a robotics facility. One forge is already up, researching that +1 ground armor, and we see a second forge now on the way here for Harstem as well. In the base of SjoW right now, we see a third command center going down here very quickly, and it looks like barracks are going to be the name of the game here for SjoW, as we do have 6 barracks currently coming up, only 1 with Tech Lab right now, currently researching that stim pack. No combat shield, no concussive shell up quite yet, and such a late gas here from SjoW. We did have 1 gas early on, but man, he is just now taking his second gas geyser, meaning this allowed him to get up a lot of very early barracks. The 6 racks are they're so early. We do have 1 engineering bay up right now, but it is not currently researching anything. Lots of Marines, lots of Marauders currently being produced here by SjoW, and he's going to start to take down these destructible debris to his third base. 1 Marine is currently out in this forward position right now. Doesn't quite see that pylon there. Doesn't know it's there quite yet. But of course he doesn't really need to, because he's not going to be warping in any units on the high ground or anything with that pylon. Just a little bit too far away from the edge. Both forges are now up right now. Ground weapons level 1 is now being produced. We see lots and lots more barracks coming down on the way right now. We do see a Twilight Council coming on the way here for Harstem as well. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be used for that Zealot charge. Knows his opponent is most likely going to be going for bio, and there we go. That's going to confirm it for him, as the observer just poked in, saw that SjoW is gearing up to take his third base, and now he's going to be poking into the main to see all the production structures here of SjoW. Going to see so many barracks. Holy cow, that is a ton of tech labs currently up right now for SjoW. That is so many tech labs. So he's going to be going into a very heavy Marauder production most likely. We do see combat shield now starting on the way here for SjoW, as well as +1 infantry weapons. Lots of Marines on the way as well. In the base of Harstem, interestingly enough, we now see +2 ground armor being started now. So it looks like Harstem going to be going for a lot of upgrades, and notice he is spending his chrono boost much better in this game without all that early pressure from SjoW. He didn't get quite messed with as much, and he's now going to be gearing up to take a third of his own. So it looks like he's using that chrono boost, getting out the early upgrades. Absolutely love this from Harstem. The moment +1 ground weapons finishes, immediately starts that +2 ground weapons. Why? Because he's expanding. He's doing all kinds of play that's saying, I am going to be really strong later on. Right now, I'm going to focus on being defensive. I'm getting lots and lots of sentries up with lots of energy. I'm getting lots of zealots to deal with all the high number of Marines that I saw. And I'm saving up lots of gas. Not getting too many stalkers, not getting too many sentries right now. Just got a few very early on so that he could save up a lot of energy, so he'd still have a lot of force fields. But he's getting up lots of zealots right now, and he's focusing his gas into getting tech. He's getting lots of upgrades, and now we do even see a Templar Archives on the way here for Harstem. Somewhere there it is. Templar Archives on the way, more gateways being thrown up as well. So everything is telling me Harstem wants to be aggressive later. He's trying to do all these plays that are going to make him very much stronger later on in the game. But right now, he's focusing strictly on lots of tech. Kind of the opposite for SjoW right now, as he's not going quite as many not as heavily on the upgrades. +1 is complete. +1 armor just now on the way. We do now see a factory and a starport, and just now coming up here for SjoW. This is very late tech. He has been focusing mostly on getting up lots and lots of units here. So he's going to have a lot of Marines, lots of Marauders, going to have a much higher army count right now. But Harstem going to be able to create a lot of units very quickly. We do now see Templar have been warped in. We do see some have already instantly been morphed into Archons. So it looks like Archon's going to be the name of the game here for Harstem. Third has been established for both players. Scout Factory now moving across the field right now. Going to be able to see that there are these forces out. Harstem trying to get some scouting information on his opponent. Did poke in, take out one Marine there, and it looks like now he's going to be able to take out this Scout Factory. Oh, one group of Marines now coming up, and it is going to be able to clean up that Zealot. Will they be able to get that Stalker as well? No, looks like they are going to be content with just taking that Zelnaga Watchtower. Harstem now going to be, I think, maybe warping in lots of units. Looks like he's very determined not to get supply blocked this time around, as he is producing plenty and plenty of pylons. Oh, although with the loss of that one pylon, he did actually just go into the red in terms of his supply. Not supply blocked too bad, but I like what he's doing here. As long as he's supply blocked, he's going to continue to get those upgrades. That is one thing that he does not need supply for. And oh man, SjoW now moving out with a huge army, but Harstem does manage to scout it with this observer, knows that this is coming to his front door, and we are now seeing him morph lots and lots of units. His gateway count right now is getting so high right now. Looks like he's currently sitting on 10 gateways, going to be able to use them so well because his economy is so well established right now, and these Archons are so high in upgrades with that splash damage. If these Marine Marauders are all clumped together, the splash damage from these Archons are going to be so strong right now. Check that out. Versus Biological, 43 damage right now with those +2 attack upgrades, and of course with that +2 armor, that is going to be negating 2 armor per shot from these Marines. So that is going to be quite a bit of damage reduction. We now see the Zealots now all with charge. They are now moving in, and holy cow, beautiful force fields there from Harstem, holding all of these Marines and Marauders in place, basically forcing SjoW to fight. He cannot pull back right now unless he's going to lose half his army, and holy cow, these Archons are cutting through the forces of SjoW so quickly, and it looks like SjoW is actually going to lose this fight. Harstem now pushing back with a ton of forces. Looks like SjoW is going to be reinforcing here fairly quickly. +2 infantry weapons just now getting ready to finish up. Looks like he's going to be able to focus down those Archons. Nice EMP goes down, manages to pick off that second Archon. Now going to be doing more and more damage to Harstem, but Harstem still has a lot of units. His +3/+3 is going to be kicking in here fairly shortly, and he's continuing to morph in more units back at home. We see more Zealots now being morphed as well, and oh, it looks like Harstem now being forced to pull back into his Zealots. Zealots now moving forward, going to start to focus down these units, and I think with those Zealots, they're so tanky right now with those. That +2 armor is going to be so helpful in taking out these Marine Marauder forces from SjoW, who is currently only 2-1 in upgrades, now going to be pulling back right now. 4th expansion now going down for SjoW. No 4th insight yet for Harstem, and Harstem actually getting kind of a lot of money right now. Actually, both these players kind of saving up a lot of money, and holy cow, I completely missed. There was a War Prism drop in the main expansion. I was wondering where all those units were being produced, and actually, you know what? Let's actually go back just a moment, because I would actually really like to see that actual warp in happen while that fight was going on. I kept seeing units being warped in on the production tab, but I could not find them on the mini-map. Where is that War Prism? Holy cow, it's going to make the long way around. As we can see here, the forces of SjoW now moving out. We are going to watch this in super fast replay mode, and War Prism now moving out. Holy cow, it moved all the way around the map. No wonder I did not see it. It was moving all the way, taking the long way around. In the meantime, Harstem was getting ready in here, warping in more and more units here. Here comes the engagement, and now I'm going to try to keep track of both of these, try to do this a second time. There comes the War Prism now dropping off those 4 Zealots. Nothing here to really defend against this. In the meantime, this attack is going on, and I think that push is also what really distracted SjoW from this, and what allowed him to not really focus on microing these forces too much, and I think he was just too focused on this drop in the main. More and more Zealots being warped in here, not too many being warped in at a time. Notice he's still warping in some at his main, some in SjoW's main, continuing to warp in small groups of Zealots up here that are going to do lots and lots of damage, and SjoW now receiving some pressure in the front, being forced to divide up all of his army, and more Zealots continuing to be warped in here for Harstem, and it looks like this is doing tremendous damage to SjoW's production structures right now. More and more Zealots being warped in. All Harstem needs to do is hold here and really just keep doing damage here, and he's getting so many worker kills right now. So far, 16 workers killed for Harstem. There is not much mining here at the main expansion. The Zealots are continuing to stream in by the handful here from Harstem. and so much damage being dealt to all the production structures, and we do now see even the Stalker now moving in to join the fight at the front. That Stalker is going to go down, but man, I don't think SjoW can actually come back from this right now. Looks like he's just losing so much right now. He's not actually getting any workers mining on this orbital command. Archons now being morphed in as well at the main. So many forces in here for Harstem. So much damage being dealt. A second War Prism now going down in the third as well, and he's now going to be warping units into this third base, and this is beautiful play here from Harstem. I absolutely love this play. This is going to be so effective, and SjoW was just not at all prepared for this kind of play here from Harstem. The Archons do finally go down, but so much damage still being dealt. Zealots all over the base. Zealots taking out the third. Workers been killed left and right. 49 workers killed so far for Harstem, and he is now throwing down so many gateways. And what is this we have going down? We actually have a Nexus going down in the natural expansion of SjoW. The Manor Nexus going down in the natural. Harstem being just a little bit BM, man. You did lose game one. It's not like you've been totally raffle stomping SjoW this entire series, but holy cow, look at the destruction in every corner of SjoW's base right now. Beautiful, brilliant play there from Harstem. Really, really like that Warp Prism use. That, of course, means that Harstem has tied it up 1-1, and we are now going to be jumping into Game 3 to see who is going to be taking this best of 3 and advancing on. So stick with me, guys. Game 3 of SjoW versus Harstem in just a moment.